Hey there, welcome to the latest episode of the Campus Comics Cast. This is going to be our monthly perusal through the previews catalog of all the stuff coming out soon. This is Dan, and I'm joined this time by
Scott Reed
and Mike Atchison.
And just letting everybody know, we are still kind of doing this, very socially distant. We're kind of doing this online still, so if there's any sound issues or technical problems, that's probably why. Just try to, bear with us while we're doing this. Still trying to keep everybody safe and be responsible. And it kind of works out for our schedules too, and things right now. So, but just let everybody know the store is open. We have been for a while now. Come down, check out some books. We just had a mini con the other day. We got another one coming up, I think on October 24th.
That should be correct.
Yeah, and hopefully have some more vendors there. Scott, will you be coming to that one? Or
I plan on it.
Okay, so Scott,
if Mike will have me back, then I'll keep coming. So.
So yeah, and they've been pretty good times so far.
Mm-hmm.
We asked everybody just be responsible, wear a mask. Trying to watch out for everybody. But the store is open, and we are at 816. A little dyslexic there. Suite B, East Main Street in Carbondale, Illinois. Our phone number is 618-457-6011, and we are open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 6, if you want to stop by. So we want to start off with the catalog.
DC?
So we'll start with the DC Connect, which is their online version of the catalog now, which, I don't know, mixed reactions to that, I think.
It's a pain. It's a pain.
Yeah, still causing some problems for some of our customers at the store, so I'm not crazy about that. But that's what we're at right now. It's been a crazy year. It's part of the new normal, I guess, with DC and their online catalog.
Well, right out of the gate, though, we are getting the conclusion of Tom King's Batman run with Batman Catwoman issue 1.
Yeah, and so everything we're going to be talking about will start to ship in December. So that means this book will be out in December. It was originally supposed to be out in January of this year. I don't think you can blame all this delay on the coronavirus, but it probably didn't help.
No, I think the biggest news out of this listing here, though, is that we're going to get Phantasm in the DC proper.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that most interests me. It's been a long time since I've watched that animated series on a show. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, it's good. It
is good.
Mask of Phantasm really holds. And yeah, Batman's Grim Reaper type characters over the years, but I feel like just the story with the Phantasm kind of overshadows all those others that were kind of done one and dones. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this wraps up Tom King's storyline, how connected this is to continuity, and that sort of thing. And
I just wonder just how well it blends into the end of his run, because I think originally this was intended to be the last chapter of his entire run, but editorial or the company decided to part ways or to end that and still at the same time allow him to tell this story. So I'd just like to see how this picks up from where it left off.
I just wonder what he's not going to be able to do now since he's no longer the writer on the proper Batman title, And, since there was that whole 5G that was supposed to happen, he probably had at the time he had a little bit more flexibility, and now some of that flexibility is gone with 5G basically also being gone. So
well, I'm going to bet that this was supposed to tail into whatever 5G was supposed to be.
Exactly, yeah.
Make a different ending, than we would have originally from it.
That explains the delay.
Yeah, my other thing too is always this thing of if you're a comic creator, why say, yeah, I got a 100-issue story planned out? Never go public with that stuff. It seems like maybe even keep that to yourself. Because it seems like whenever a comic creator does that, they get cut off.
Right.
He almost made it.
It never pans out. But meanwhile, Grant Morrison is on Batman for 5 years or something. You know what I mean? It's keep that to yourself, or I don't know if just maybe it's a political thing within the company. Of just you're being so presumptuous thinking you're going to be around for 100 issues. Who knows what was going on behind the scenes with all this.
Well, I liked knowing that he had a plan.
Yeah.
I always liked knowing that he had a 100 issue, arc that he was planning on telling. I actually liked that. So, because I'm tired of all the writers jumping ship constantly. So it's nice to know somebody intends. If basically when he says he has 100 issues, basically saying as long as they let me be here, I'll be here.
Yeah.
So.
But it seems like whenever they go public with that stuff, it's jinx.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what it is.
I noticed this is a DC Black Label. Is it going to be regular size or is it going to be oversized?
It better be regular size.
Yeah,
I hadn't even noticed that. Let's see. Cardstock cover.
That makes me think it's going to be
with a blank variant. It's almost certainly regular size.
Okay.
It doesn't say oversized.
I'm gonna bet Clay Mann probably started doing the art at regular size before it was determined this was going to be a Black Label book. So they probably didn't want to make him go back and redo it, or especially a 12-issue run at that odd format. And this way they can do their complete Tom King collection later on, probably easier if it's all the same size as the monthly book was.
Oh, and it's $4.99. So if it was oversized, it'd be probably $6.99 or something.
Yeah, it would definitely be more expensive.
And like Batman Black and White, which is the next book in the catalog, is listed as a prestige format. So and Catman or Batman Catwoman is not listed as prestige format either. So
right.
I'm looking forward to Batman Black and White though. I love that original miniseries from the 90s, the 4-parter anthology.
I don't know if I've read that.
No, you should.
Okay, I'll put that on my list. So.
Oh, shame on both of you. Such a good book.
I'm writing it down right now.
Christmas is coming up, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, just, again, an anthology book of just black and white art. Mm-hmm. Just people telling good, out of continuity, typically 8-page Batman stories.
Yeah, and I see DC finally got Peach Momoko to do a variant cover. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Well, that is actually kind of a cool Talia cover, to be honest.
Yeah, it is nice. Get Peach Momoko to do a story. How about? Let's try for that. That's too. You get a lot of artists that don't do full-time work anymore kind of working on some of these, because they're shorter.
Mm-hmm. Well, page 9, we've got Endless Winter. So I guess that's all going to take place in the month of December, assuming it stays on schedule. Looks like it's a 9-part crossover story. So you got an opening book and then 7. So Justice League, I guess, is going to bookend it. And then you got issues of Flash, Superman has a special, Aquaman, Justice League, Teen Titans has a special, Justice League Dark, and then a Black Adam special, and then the Justice League ending for Chapter 9. So it takes place over 5. So I guess that means we got 5 Tuesdays in December for DC. So that takes up a decent portion of the DC catalog, just all the tie-ins and such. So
I tell you, they've kind of done this before. I think what was it? Justice League versus Suicide Squad was like this, where it was like weekly or bi-weekly. Mm-hmm. It's like I kind of like when you could just crank them out like that and then it's done.
Seems like they were 6 issues, weren't they? Were they 6 issues or were they 5 issues?
I can't remember.
They did that. Yeah, I can't either.
I don't think it was all in 1 month like that, but it was weekly and it was quick like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's 6 weeks as opposed to 6 months.
Yeah. Right. If it's gonna span this many titles, I would rather it be a quick story. I think it's gonna be pretty, I don't know if you'd say impactful, but it's going to touch on a lot of things. I'm more excited about this than I have been for a lot of different events in the past couple of years. Certainly more excited than the death metal stuff. I don't really know what I'm missing because I'm not reading it. I did read the original metal and I just was confused by most of it. But this Endless Winter, it has just enough characters that I haven't seen in a while, like Black Adam and in the headdress, the Egyptian headdress. I think that looks great. And I mean, you've got Viking Prince as a character. I mean, that's outstanding. I mean, that's a deep cut. And then Hippolyta, the historical or the story in the past is what really intrigues me. And I think there's going to be a lot of good art because you got everybody from Howard Porter to Mikhail Hanin. I'm not sure everybody else, but they'll be covered in their. We'll read about it in the individual.
How close do you think this is to Final Night?
Oh, I know. What'd you say again?
Oh, how close do you think this is to Final Night?
It sounds a little similar.
Well, it's the whole. I haven't read, mostly because I have to zoom in to see what that fine print is. But in Final Night, a Sun Eater had taken away the sun, and it was they only had a few days before the world would freeze over. But this obviously the winter part of it seems to be the same type of theme, but it seems a little bit deeper or complex than the Final Night story.
I don't have anything else in DC till page 53, so you guys go for a while.
Well, after all the Endless Winter books, we've got Generation Shattered #1 from Dan Jurgens, Andy Schmidt, and Robert Venditti. And so it looks like this is repurposing some of the 5G stuff that didn't come to pass. Again, there was a little sort of teaser for this in the Detective 1027 issue, and apparently it's coming out of Death Metal also. But we've got first appearance Batman in here, and Steel, and Green Lantern, Sinestro, and stuff like that. So I'm kind of interested in this. Hopefully it doesn't go too far into anything else. Hopefully this is just, hey, there's some cool stuff we didn't get around to doing with 5G, but hopefully a good story in there. So I think I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah, I've got that marked too, Dan. Going back to, I forget what page it was on, but it was the Aquaman number 66, the Endless Winter tie-in, and I noticed that it has the Fire Trolls. Aquaman is recruiting the Fire Trolls to help fight the villain in this story. And the Fire Trolls, this is notable in my mind because they first appeared in Aquaman #1. So another deep cut.
Yeah.
And I guess this is supposed to be Aquaman and Mira's child already walking and joining the fight, because that was just like what, issue 50 something that they were born.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why they feel like they have to age these kids so quickly, but yeah, I thought the same thing.
So again, we've got some of the Dark Knights Death Metal stuff wrapping up. Again, I'm not really reading this. I don't know a lot about it, but what one is this? Okay, so the last stories of the DC Universe #1. We've got a lot of writers working here. Tucked away in here is Mark Waid. So I think that's notable because he's kind of been on the outs with DC for a while. We've seen a lot of change at DC lately. Hopefully, there's been some sites online reporting maybe this is kind of a change for his, status with DC. And it's looking like Brian Michael Bendis' Superman run is about to wrap up. So is this the time that we get Mark Waid coming in and doing Superman finally?
Well, I hadn't picked up on Mark Waid's name in that, but yeah, good catch. I do hope that has that's an indication of something.
Yeah, because again, they're going to be spinning stuff out of Death Metal, so it could be he's setting something up here that he's going to be working on afterwards. Hopefully, we'll see.
Right.
But again, I just feel like, he's done so much work at Marvel. I'm always just like, he should be at DC. He's such a Superman guy. You know what I mean? And he wrote Kingdom Come for him. So come on.
Yeah.
Let's get him back over here.
On page 27, we have this ad for Future State, DC Future State. And that's all we get, January and February 2021. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but.
Well, I would say it's probably after Endless Winter. So it's probably going to be another crossover just spread out over January and February instead of just all in December. And I would assume it'd probably be, again, 5 or 6 weeks. But I bet it's very similar to what we get format-wise from Endless Winter.
Yeah, I'm going to bet, too, the Generation Shattered has some play into that, too, with this time-traveling aspect of the characters in there. Yeah, then we've got the obligatory DC Christmas special with DC's Very Merry Multiverse #1.
Yeah, I'll be getting that.
These are hit or miss with me. There's usually 1 or 2 good stories and then some fillers. in these sort of anthology holiday specials they've been doing lately. I'll have to hear some really good reviews of it, I think, first before I pick it up.
I probably would not pick it up, but it's got the multiverse aspect to it, so I'm a sucker for that. And they know it.
Yeah, on page 30, we've got some more Tales from the Dark Multiverse. We've got a Crisis on Infinite Earth special coming out from Steve Orlando and Mike Perkins. And then what's the other one? Oh, yeah, Dark Knight's Metal one, because it hasn't been long enough since we've done that story. And then was it War of the Gods? So going back to the early 90s with that one. But, yeah, the first round of these books I really liked. I thought they were cool ideas and really fun. So I'll probably be checking them out.
That was the only thing I really liked about the Metal. That was those spin-off Tales of the Dark Multiverse. I wanted to go back just a little bit to page 29 with Jenny Hex special number 1, and I may pick this up. I'm not sure, but now that Scott has attuned my eyes to these new villain alerts, I have to say that there is one here with some character named Three-Eyed Jack. So, and she is a pretty good character. She's been in Young Justice, and she's Jonah Hex's great granddaughter or something. So. Yeah. And on the next page is the Crisis on the Dark Multiverse, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which for no other reason I'll get that. There's probably a lot of Crisis loyalists or completists that will pick this up just because it's got the word Crisis in it.
Yeah. Scott, when was your next thing?
Not till 53, so.
Okay, that's me too at this point. So,
right.
Mike, do you have anything
Mike?
for that?
No, I'm good until 64.
Okay.
All right. So on page 53, we've just got we're going to get an 8th issue of Batman: The Adventure Continues, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing occasional announcements. Oh, we're going to issue 9. Oh, we're going to issue 10. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen with that book, but I think it's good news. I'm glad to hear we're gonna get an 8th issue, and that'll give us another podcast too to something to talk about. So
yeah, I hope we don't get. I hope it either ends at 8, we don't get of 9, we just get ongoing if they're gonna add after that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. I gotta imagine the book digitally at least did pretty well for him during the shutdown and everything. So
and it's a good book.
Yeah, I would assume this is doing pretty good for DC. Right after that, though, we are getting the last issue of the Batman Adventures reprints with issue 7, which I remember this one. This came out because this was in a polybag with Man-Bat on the cover because it came with a Man-Bat trading card from a trading card series tied into Batman the Animated Series that was about to come out. And inside it's a Killer Croc story.
That's weird that they're gonna stop reprinting these issues at 7. That just seems odd to me.
Yeah, well, I wonder if maybe it was supposed to line up with 7 issues of Adventures Continue, maybe, or what? I don't know. But I know, you're kind of into one and dones at that point too. It's not a continuing story at that point, so you can kind of end it whenever at that part.
Okay.
But yeah, again, good Mike Parobeck art from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, 60. Where am I at? Oh, 53 or 94 is my next thing. So.
Okay. So another issue of Far Sector coming out. So I feel like they're a little behind on that. Maybe not just with the shutdown. I can't remember where we're at with that book exactly. But again, a good book. I'm looking forward to reading. And then on page 70, does anybody have anything for that?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention on page 64, the Legion of Superheroes, number 12. After the first couple of issues, I started thinking, this is a little bit thin on plot. But then this latest issue I read, I can't remember issue 7 or 8. It was the one that featured. It basically was to give Ryan Sook a break and have a bunch of different artists feature a different Legionnaire, and I thought it was outstanding. It really kept the thread of the story going, but it was interesting actually seeing a little bit more about each of these reworked, reimagined designs for the Legionnaires. And so I'm a little bit rejuvenated on my excitement for the Legion again.
Was it issue 9, Mike, that you were talking about?
No, I don't have that one yet. I think it was 8.
Okay, so it must be 8 then. Okay.
Yeah,
So
might be
the
two,
latest
I think
issue.
I think it's 2 issues maybe that they're doing that break, or having multiple artists. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's good stuff, especially if you've got any interest in the Legion. And right now, I could give a rat's petunia less about the Justice League, but I love a team book. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Am I showing my age by that? It's the PG.
Aaron, you're saying you're not thrilled with Justice League.
Yeah, I'm not. That breaks my heart. But man, it's like, people associate me with Justice League, and I can't hardly get through an issue anymore without just being disappointed. But the same team concept that I love is in the Legion right now, so that's where I'm getting my jam on. And that's all I have for at least until I think in the 70s, page 70 something.
All right. Well, on page 70, we're kind of going into the collected editions now. So at the top of the page, we've got the Batman Cape Crusader Volume 5 trade. And this is, again, some early 90s Batman stuff. We've got Alan Grant, Chuck Dixon, and Peter Milligan writing. And then the art is Tom Lyle, Norm Breyfogle, and Jim Aparo, which are all gone now, I realized.
Yeah.
These are guys I grew up reading, and it's like, Jim Aparo passed away a while back, but then Norm Breyfogle was a couple years ago, and Tom Lyle was not that long ago either. So they're all gone. So that's kind of a bummer, realizing that. But again, some good stories in there. And below that, we've got the Batman Detective Comics Volume 4 Cold Vengeance trade. And this was mainly Tomasi and Doug Monk. And just a good Mr. Freeze story where Nora is revived. And, spoilers, kind of takes his role and leaves him frozen at the end of it. So kind of a switch for the characters there, but a really good story with a good twist there at the end for you. On page 74, we've got DC Comics, The Art of Lee Bermejo hardcover. Now, there was a book published, might have been last year, of his art that I think was available in Europe. And so I think this is supposed to be a lot of the same work, but, translated. And with a new cover, it looks like, or a different cover at least. But yeah, this will probably be one worth picking up just because, he's done some great work for DC, especially, his detective covers are great right now that he's been doing. So, yeah, I think there's supposed to be like essays and behind the scenes stuff and, a lot of good artwork in there.
Yeah, that'd be, I mean, it's a hefty price, but man, that would be some good stuff.
Yeah.
One page back, I'd like to highlight the Crisis on Multiple Earths, book 1, Crossing Over trade paperback. Now, I know there was a whole series of Crisis on Multiple Earths trade paperbacks that they were kind of hard to come. I don't know when they were printed, but I tried to track them down, and it took me a while to get them all.
Oh, yeah.
So if anybody wants to read those stories with the JSA, JLA crossovers, I'd recommend picking up this trade, and maybe there'll be subsequent volumes after this.
Yeah, those came out in like the early aughts, and they once they went out of print, they definitely went up in price because I've got the first couple and that's it. But again, recently they were all reprinted as hardcovers in the big Crisis box set that came out last year. But again, that was a $500 set.
Right. That's why I recommend this.
But a more affordable way are these, individual trades that looks like they're going to come out with now. And again, it's way cheaper than the original issues too with some of this stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Especially the first JLA JSA crossover.
On page 75, I'm going to pick this up just because I like the Batman Detective stories, and this solicitation is called the DC's Greatest Detective Stories Ever Told, and it features stories from Adventure Comics 51, Batman 441, Detective Comics number 2, 329, 572, Lois Lane 1 and 2. I'm not sure about all of these stories. I do know that cover is from Detective 572, where Batman is looking over the shoulder of Sherlock Holmes, as like he's kind of pointing out a clue that he should have picked up. But I've got that issue, and I always like that cover. I'm not sure who it's by, but
Kaluta.
Is that Kaluta?
Yeah, Michael
that's
Kaluta.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to pick that up.
Yeah, and just to point out too, in that book is a story from Detective Comics number 2, which again, that's pre-Batman, and was supposed to be part of that reprint set that they canceled. So probably the only way you're reading that for a while. And again, Adventure Comics 51, that's got to be going back pretty far too for that.
Yeah. I got one note on page 80, and that's the Justice Society of America, the demise of Justice hardcover. Were you going to talk? Did you have that noted to speak on?
Yeah, I did. That was well. I mean, feel free, but I bought that as it came out off the newsstand at Kroger back in the day when I was 9 or 10, whatever it was. But so we've got some good Rick Burkett, Mike Parobeck art in there, and this led into the short-lived Mike Parobeck Justice Society Monthly they did for a while, which apparently only got canceled because Mike Carlin thought DC shouldn't be publishing stories with old characters in them. Not old that they've been around for a while, but like elderly aged characters. Which it was a good book. It seems like a silly reason for it to get canceled. And they've done JSA books since, so.
Yeah, I think it's just a great collection of stories, and it's $40, but it's something I'll pay $40 for. That's all I have on DC.
Okay.
Well, page 94, unless you got something before that, Dan.
Go ahead.
So we got the audio book, not really a comic. We got the audio book of Sandman. This has a stellar cast. James McAvoy is Morpheus. You got BB Newirth, Andy Serkis, Kat Dennings, Neil Gaiman is the narrator. So I've heard that it's really, really well done. It's about 11 hours long. And I guess it takes parts of the first 3 volumes of Sandman. So I've got an Audible credit I'm probably going to spend on this here in the very near future. But looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Back on 86, we've got the Superman and Batman Generations omnibus hardcover. And so this was the Elseworlds basically series that John Byrne did for a while. So there were the 4-issue miniseries and then the 12-issue miniseries that he did. So again, about 20 books here. And I want to say they were oversized. Just a cool story of Superman and Batman kind of aging and living their lives in real time, where Batman dies and is replaced by Robin, and they kind of grow old and have kids and everything over the years. Just a fun story, just really cool idea. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. I know a lot of people probably haven't read it.
But I've got the 4-issue prestige format, but this looks like it collects. Was there more than one?
Oh yeah, there were 3.
There was a Generation 2. I see.
Yeah, and 3.
And 3. Oh my.
3 got the 12-issue run.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think that went into the far future on that one too at some point. So yeah, good stuff though.
Going back to Sandman, Scott, I was wondering. I thought I had heard that there's going to be a TV series now with some of the same characters or some of the same actors.
Yes, they're working on was it Netflix?
I think so.
Yeah, Netflix series, and we'll talk about Netflix's series with Netflix here when we get into Marvel as well. So.
And this is one of my blank spots. I've read the first couple volumes of Sandman, but I've heard that to listen to this, you need to have read a good portion of the Sandman series.
Okay. That I don't know. So.
Yeah, so it makes me want to read it, so I can definitely get this audio book or be prepared for the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, Neil Gaiman was talking about this at the Fandom, online thing a while back. So I know he is involved in it. It sounds like it definitely has his blessing and everything. So
That's good.
well, moving on to the Marvel catalog.
Marvel catalog.
Yes, sir.
So page 1, we got a multi-page preview for King in Black, Donny Cates, who apparently to most people can't do any wrong. But yeah, pages. Well, what we got another world-threatening event hitting the Marvel Universe, which is getting a little bit old for me. Yeah. But the first 21 pages are King in Black.
Yeah. I'm not real interested in this. I've been kind of burned on Marvel events since Age of Ultron. But we're getting Black Cat back, which I'm excited about. And if that's how we got to do it, I'm okay with that, I guess. I'll buy this, and that'll probably be it. So.
Well, she has an ongoing, which they started over.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is where they're starting it over. They canceled it, and it's coming out of this King in Black. So, I don't know. Marvel's just canceling a lot of the books I'd like to read from them right now. 27. Does anybody have anything for that?
No.
So we've got the MODOK Head Games, number 1 of 4. And so one of the writers on this is Patton Oswalt, the comedian who is going to be on the MODOK cartoon that's coming out. So it might be like an early taste of what we're going to get with that.
I'm so disappointed that he's involved in anything Marvel does.
What is that?
He's just such an annoying little man.
I think he's hilarious.
I don't care for him too much. So. Like when he was on Age of the Shield, this is like, oh, great.
Oh, he was in Blade Trinity back in the day.
Well, that's not a plus either. So.
Yeah, I don't have anything else for a while in here.
Yeah, 28 through 39 is all X-Men.
Yeah.
Page 40.
Yeah, I don't have anything until 61 or 62.
Okay, so page 40, Danny Moonstar is getting a lot of play in the Marvel Universe here. We got a Chris Claremont anniversary special, and Danny Moonstar's on the cover. She's on the Indigenous Voices books last month. She was on one of the covers for that. So if you have felt like you needed more Danny Moonstar in your life, she was originally Psyche and then Mirage for New Mutants. So there you go.
Yeah.
43. I think it's 43. I'd not to talk about this book, but this cover of Amazing Spider-Man 55 is super cool. So you have this side profile of Spider-Man just made out of webs, and it is really just a black background with white webbing, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah, it does.
So if you're a cover collector, this is one to watch for.
And there's a Lego variant cover by Ron Lim. So there's that too. I don't think I have anything till 60.
Yeah, 65 is my next thing.
Okay, so on page 60, we've got the last issue of the Maestro miniseries by Peter David coming out. Again, just sort of an origin story for how sort of Hulk transitions into that character in the future. The first couple issues of that are out now, and they've been really good. I'm really liking this book. It's taking a turn I didn't expect, but it totally makes sense for what happens in the Future Imperfect story. Would be later on in this continuity. But yeah, I'm really liking this book. Again, depending on how it ends, we know the character at least continues into the Hulk Future Imperfect story, but I wouldn't mind more of this, if they can keep the quality up on it. And then was 62, we've got Immortal Hulk 41, and just a nice cover of Hulk and Thing sitting down in a diner, kind of destroying the seats they're sitting in.
That's the one I had marked to talk about. I haven't been picking up the issues. I've been picking up trades. I've got the first 2, I think, of the Immortal Hulk series, but I'd pick this issue up just for the cover. That's fantastic. No pun intended.
On was it page 66? We've got Doctor Doom number 10. Again, another good Marvel book I'm reading right now.
Yes.
It just looks like the story they're wrapping up though is called The Crack of Doom. Like I don't need to know anything about Doom's crack.
No.
You know, like thanks but no thanks, Christopher Cantwell.
I just finished the first trade of that, and that actually was really, really good.
Oh yeah, I'm really liking that book. Yeah, that's one I was bummed that was put on hiatus when everything shut down.
And then back on page 65, Captain America issue number 26. Still, Ta-Nehisi Coates is still writing. I actually expected his run to finish on issue 25 since he's no longer on Black Panther. So apparently he's got a little bit more Captain America stories left in him. So that's good.
Again, just sort of a cool kind of simple cover from Alex Ross with Red Hulk facing off against Cap there. It looks pretty cool.
I need to try to do a measurement on the shield and see if he gets the shield right this time. So
I think that's all I have with comics. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so page 76, we got a king size Conan number 1, and not really to talk about Conan, but the Netflix is supposed to be starting a Conan series up as well. So I don't know, maybe getting some Conan on Netflix, and it'll be, I think it's gonna be like a lot of them are a little bit more mature. So probably I'm sure they're gonna advertise it. You were talking earlier, Mike, about everything felt like Game of Thrones with Endless Winter and King in Black, but yeah, so we'll probably get a Game of Thrones like Conan here on Netflix in the probably a year or so out, I'd say at least.
Well, by Crom, I'm ready for it.
Do you think they can get Jason Momoa to come back and play Conan?
We can hope not.
I don't think we have an episode that we don't take a jab at shot about Jason Momoa.
He's already ruined Aquaman and Conan once. We shouldn't let him do it again. So
I'm sure Jason Momoa is real concerned about what we're saying on here.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I saw that Conan movie, I didn't know it was him.
Oh yeah.
And I don't remember anything about that movie, so it must have been pretty forgettable. So I probably should watch it again.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a better Conan than he was Aquaman.
Do you have any of the Conan magazines, the black and whites? Either of you?
I used to. I don't know if I still have any of them.
I think I have a handful of them, but it's not anything I've ever read. I just have them in my for sale boxes. So.
Well, let me tell you, it's not something a 12-year-old kid wants his dad to find. I don't know where I ended up getting one from my uncle that worked at Sparta Printing or whoever, but my dad found one that I'd been reading, and it was pretty risque, and my dad was not happy.
I do have a page of original art from one issue of Savage Sword. It's a Sal Buscema page. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. That's all I have at Marvel. So.
Well, my next.
I had something marked here. Hang on. Oh, just the Marvel art of George Perez on page 96, and only because that was a point where I started buying the Avengers. It was Kurt Busiek and George Perez. And I don't know, it's just sort of had a little bit of the nostalgic tug. So I might get this. Except I just noticed it's $50, so maybe not.
I feel like George Perez's art's worth $50.
Hey, and it'll only be $40 if you buy it, pre-order it, and get it at Campus Comics.
That's right.
20% off of trades. Is that right, Dan? Normal?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That sounds better. 40 sounds better than 50.
Going back on page 87, some of the merchandise, we've got the Marvel Select Silver Centurion Iron Man action figure coming out, which I think is weird timing because right now you can pick up the Marvel Legends Silver Centurion Iron Man from Walgreens, which I just found today.
Walgreens?
Yep, it's Walgreens exclusive apparently. They've had some exclusives lately from the last few years with Marvel. And DC had one not too long ago too. But yeah, like to me, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's a preference thing, but I definitely prefer the Marvel Legends to the Marvel Select typically. It seems weird that they just came out with this Marvel Legends and now they're doing the Marvel Select one too. I feel like you should have held off a little bit longer on that one.
Yeah.
But again, if you're a big Silver Centurion fan, and I know people are, there's another one coming for you.
So both of you can get that.
Yeah. Page 106. Again, speaking about the Immortal Hulk covers, we're getting Immortal Hulk by Alex Ross poster book coming out. So what is? Yeah, so 42 pages. So a lot of the covers there, he's probably done for that. Then what else? There was one more thing in here. Oh yeah, the posters.
Oh yeah.
So we have 4 posters that we're showing, and 3 more that they're not showing. So Nonstop Spider-Man #1. So I'm assuming that's the cover to the first issue that was solicited months ago, and then Web of Spider-Man #1, which is in here. So why not show that? If it's probably just the cover, and then Children of the Atom #1 poster. So Marvel's back to playing our favorite game of not showing the posters they're soliciting.
Yeah, I guess we didn't even talk about there being a new Web of Spider-Man, but this time it's an acronym Web. I can't remember what it stood for. I'm trying to go back here and see if I can find it in here. But yeah, it's not that important, obviously. But
yeah. But again, Worldwide Engineering Brigade.
There you go. Okay, I hadn't made it back yet.
That means.
I'm sure it means something to somebody. So
yeah, but again, good Mark Bagley cover. I'm always up for that with Spider-Man, and Guri Hiru Studio doing the main cover. It looks like too. I like their art.
Ready for the big book?
I think so.
All right. It's page 26. Be sure and pick up a copy of previews so you can see all the stuff that we don't talk about or tell us what we should be talking about.
There's a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, why this isn't on the order form page, I'll never understand. But again, the orders are due October 18th. So if you see something in here you're interested in, or if you hear us talking about, make sure you let Mike at the store know by then, because we have to put the orders in so we can get it what you want.
32.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're getting another Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips book. I guess we should throw in Jacob Phillips as well, Reckless. So a lot of fans of this pair whenever they work together, and we get a nice, 1, 2, 3, 4-page preview of the book. And it to me, let's rip on Patton Oswalt a little bit more here. So they've got, they have, like reviews from, Damon Lindelof of Watchmen and Joe Hill, Lock and Key. But who they put on the first page? Patton Oswalt? Really?
There you go.
Prioritize.
I think they did.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I would, especially, with, as much press as Watchmen's been getting, Damon Lindelof probably should have been up there first, followed by Joe Hill. So.
So right after that, we've got Post Americana #1. And this is by Steve Scroce. I'm not sure exactly how to say his name. But again, did Spider-Man back in the day, and he did a lot of concept work and storyboards for the Matrix movies, and helped kind of sell the movie back in the day with that when everybody thought it was hackers. But again, they did an art book of the Matrix years ago when that came out. There's some really cool stuff in there that he did, and a lot of cool designs by Jeff Darrow, if you ever come across that. Let's see, my next thing's not till 60.
Okay, well, page 44, we have issue 27 of Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire, and it is the final issue of this series. I read the first 2 trades and never got back into it after the first 2 trades, but it was really solid. So, but that series is going to be wrapping up.
Maybe nobody else got back into it either.
Well, I'd say it's so we can focus in on Sweet Tooth.
Yeah. So on page 60, we've got Firepower #6, and it says Owen is finally reunited with his master Wei Lun, but the reunion does not go the way you think it will. I think after the teaser image of the Master in the previous issue of the comic, I know where this is going.
Back on page 51, we're getting the third volume of Die, The Great Game, reprints issues, doesn't say. So I'm assuming it's like 11 through 15, but, oh yeah, there it is, 11 through 15. And I have a prediction. I don't know if I've said this before on the podcast, but I think this series is going to go 20 issues because it's on the cover, they got a 20-sided dice kind of flattened out. So I'm predicting it's going to be a 20-issue series. So we got one more volume after this. I'm probably wrong, but I'm just.
Man, that'd be a really good way to do that for the issue number.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what they were doing, just roll, put the die on the number.
Mm-hmm. So,
93. Anybody have anything before that?
Nope. 176 my next thing. So.
Okay, so going into Dark Horse here, we get the last issue of Bill and Ted Are Doomed. Again, as we're recording this, only the first issue's been out, and I really liked it. I just really like that we've got Evan Dorkin and Roger Langridge working on a book together. Hopefully someday they work on something else. Who knows? I hope this collaboration went well for them. It'd be really cool to see those guys working together again on something. Doesn't even have to be Bill and Ted, as far as I'm concerned. Just whatever. Let's see.
I don't have anything until 135.
Yeah, well, go ahead, because I think you're before me, it looks like.
Well, this caught my eye because it was Lock and Key, Volume 1, Bienvenidos a Lovecraft, which means welcome to Lovecraft in Spanish, and then the entire solicitation's in Spanish. So it's something I thought, well, that might be kind of cool to pick up, but I'm not sure if the solicitation's in Spanish, maybe the entire book is. So
it is, because they were focusing on some. What page you say that was?
Yeah.
So on 134, you've got the advertisement for IDW in Espanol.
I gotcha.
So they're actually promoting some books that are printed in Spanish.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But the other reason I had that page marked, I mentioned last time we did a previews review. I mentioned the comic book history of animation, and I said that I'm not an animation guy, but I did read the comic book history of comics, and that is being solicited, or at least it's actually being referenced whenever they're again soliciting this comic book history of animation. So it looks like you can still buy the comic book history of comics, and if you like to know about the history of the entire medium and read it in comic book form, I recommend this. And if you guys want to borrow my copy, you're welcome to before you buy.
174. Does anybody have anything before that?
Nope.
Okay, so going into Boom here, we've got Lumberjanes, End of Summer #1. And so it looks like this is the final issue of Lumberjanes, it says here. So it looks like that series is finally wrapping up. And again, sort of a good, kind of longer running indie book. Surprised, with all the movie and TV deals and things out there hasn't been some kind of movement with Lumberjanes. At least for like a cartoon series or something, you would think. So kind of surprising we haven't had anything for that, as popular as that book has been.
Page 176, speaking of TV and movie deals. So here we have The Expanse, issue 1. It's going to be a 4-issue series from Boom. This is going to take place between seasons 4 and 5 of the Netflix, gosh, I just always say Netflix when it's a series, of the Amazon Prime series, which was formerly a sci-fi series. This is one of those rare cases where the TV show is better than the books. And it'll be interesting to see, because this is going to be in the TV series universe. So hopefully it will, work as well as the TV series does.
So on 192, we've got the new issue of Berserker from Keanu Reeves and Matt Kent, and illustrated by TBA this issue. So I'm pretty sure this is Ron Garney. They probably just maybe didn't have everything finalized when they had to take, the solicitation to print. But I'm pretty sure they have announced that it will be Ron Garney, unless that has changed since I heard that.
Yeah, it's weird that they're having to put an artist as TBA, because they're like that Kickstarter for that thing, like right over like $1.5 million, and it's just for the trades of this series. So you think they'd have that all worked out.
Yeah, you would think. But again, it's not the original artist that was supposed to be on issue 1. He is apparently gone or moved on or whatever. But yeah, it sounds like Ron Garney is supposed to be coming in to do the book. And again, he seems like a pretty steady professional who can get it done on time, you would think.
Yeah, he's a solid artist. I've got a really cool Hulk Silver Surfer piece from him. So 207 is my next thing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so Abstract Studios, we've got solicitations for Motor Girl, both as an omnibus and then as 2 trade paperbacks. This is a really, really good series. It's a quick read for 12 issues. It's my second favorite series in the Mooreverse after Rachel Rising. So something non-superhero that somebody might be interested in picking up.
On 224 from Ahoy, we've got Second Coming, Only Begotten Son #1. So it looks like a sequel to the Second Coming series, which was not nearly as blasphemous as it sounded like it was going to be. It was actually a pretty decent story. And then also on the same page from Albatross Funny Books, we've got Blood Force Trauma #1. And I'm pretty sure this might have been a Kickstarter book, I think. I think I saw this on there somewhere. And so it looks like it's going to be available now from Albatross that makes the Goon.
246 is my next thing.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so on page 246, we've got Erratic from AWA Studios, written and illustrated by Kara Andrews. Reading the copy about it, it really kind of sounds like a Spider-Man book. But if you got a 15-year-old kid who basically gets his powers for 10 minutes at a time. So, I don't know, sounds kind of interesting. Cover by Mike Deodato Jr.
Yeah, I really like that Carrie Andrews cover on there, too, though. And yeah, that, the sort of energy looking like webs and the sort of bug-like mask doesn't help dispel the Spider-Man comparison there either.
No. And the kid in high school, that also is right up in there as well. So, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So,
kind of an interesting concept that, you think about how restricting the powers of Iron Man was with an hour at a time, but 10 minutes at a time, you might say it's erratic.
There you go.
It also sounds like the sort of streaming ADD mentality kind of going into
exactly.
Too. Probably be more relevant
as
it goes. On 268 from Fantagraphics, we've got Please Don't Step on My Jinko Jeans, which for me places this in a very specific time. And not the first time Jinko jeans have been mentioned in comics, because they had a promotion like a mascot character called Flamehead, which had a sort of one-shot mini-comic that was in an issue of Wizard back in the day. So
is that what you call those baggy jeans, is Jinko?
Yeah, that was the brand. That was Jinko jeans back in the day. Yeah, the real kind of wide, crazy sort of bell-bottoms from back in the 90s. So yeah, that, sort of looks like an autobiographical piece, but definitely ties it to a certain period in time there.
Well, not too many pages past that is the Overstreet Price Guide's 50th.
Yeah.
I usually get one every 5 years or so I might pick one up this time.
Yeah, we got McFarlane doing the first time he's drawn Spawn and Spider-Man together for something.
Yep.
And he still hasn't figured out perspective on Spikes.
My next thing's on 316, so.
Well, on 309, we've got Sham Comics 80-page giant. And so I got a couple of these that came out a while back, and it's just sort of taking old, sort of now public domain books and kind of rewriting the text in them, making them funnier, sort of a Mystery Science Theater version for comics. So the first couple I got were fun, so I'll probably check that out.
On 313, they had the Jack Kirby, under 10 Speed Press, the Jack Kirby Epic Life of the King of Comics. It's a 208-page hardcover for $28.99, and I recognize it because I've got a copy of the free comic book preview of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the book by Tom Scioli, and this is out now if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
We can get this. I read this on Jack Kirby's birthday the other day, actually. And if you follow Tom Scioli online right now, he is kind of taking part in Inktober, and he's doing a thing called Jacktober. Every day he's drawing a Jack Kirby themed character or drawing, and so he's kind of posted up his own prompts for that, and they've been pretty cool so far.
Page 316 from Titan, we've got Blade Runner 2029 issue 1. So we're jumping ahead in that series 10 year. I assume this is going to be replacing the Blade Runner 2019 series. But yeah, 4 covers. Looks like 4 covers for that book for the first issue. So.
And who does those covers?
Well, you've got Fernando Degnigo, Giovanni Valletta, Sid Mead, and of course Peach Momoko is the cover A artist.
Yeah.
Apparently for 1 through 4.
So shortly after that, on 3/19, we've got Marvel Studios' The Eternals official movie special coming from Titan, and it lists the release date as in theaters February 12th, 2021. Mm-hmm. We'll see about that because I think they've already pushed that back, haven't they?
Yeah, it's already back in November of 2021. Yeah. So because they pushed Black Widow back to May 7th of 2021.
So yeah,
so that should be Free Comic Book Day. Well, the Free Comic Day weekend of 2021.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I think I'm done on side 1. So.
I think I am too. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah.
None of the shirts or anything jumped out at me either this time, so.
Yeah, just more graffiti shirts I can't wear, so whatevs. Flip that over.
And on side 2, I don't have anything till page 104, so.
Well, on page 16, we've got this Marvel comic Doctor Doom 1/7 scale resin mini bust, which I think looks pretty cool. Just sort of a neat pose there with Doom with sort of like energy or fire coming out of his hands. And then right after that, we've got the Marvel Gallery comic Hawkeye with Pizza Dog diorama from Hawkman's book from a couple years ago. And I think it's kind of cool seeing Pizza Dog in something.
That dog was named Arrow. Why don't they just say Arrow?
Because Pizza Dog's fun.
Oh, okay.
And and the way these pages are staged, it kind of looks like Hawkeye is shooting at Dr. Doom on the page in front of it. And then on 19, we've got a better look at the questionable Marvel Select Silver Centurion Iron Man figure. So he does come with the mulleted Tony Stark head, which Marvel Legends does not. So if you got to have that, there's your reason to buy it right there.
I see on 21 they've got they're leaning into the Black Adam movie with PVC diorama of him.
Got Black Adam and Black Suit Superman on the same page.
On page 28, we've got some of the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures, and they're showing a lot of like the metal characters are doing. And there's one down here that says Metal TBA, and I'm pretty sure that is the DC Multiverse Grim Knight action figure, which is already out. So I'm not sure why they didn't just show the figure in here. But just kind of judging from the silhouette here, it looks like that figure, which I've got right here that I'm holding. So again, sort of one of the evil Batman from the Batman Who Laughs miniseries. Let's see. On page 37, I saw there's a few of these in here, but we've got the Tiger Electronics X-Men Edition game. And so these are like I don't even know if they were 8-bit, maybe sort of handheld games from like the late 80s, early 90s that you could get. I had several of these when I was a kid, and it's just like, it's not a Game Boy. It's, it's one game, and that's all you get.
They were just LEDs, I think is what they were, just LED games, so.
Yeah. But again, well, LCD. But
sorry, yeah.
No, but I had several of these growing up, so it's kind of weird to see that making a comeback. But I think there's a Transformer one and another one in the catalog later, too. It's like, I don't know if my nostalgia goes that far for them.
I have a thumb that doesn't work from an electronic quarterback game. Whenever I played it so much, I basically wore out my thumb, so sometimes it doesn't want to bend on me.
On page 40, we've got the Little Dumpster Fire Nightlight figure. I mean, if you want to commemorate 2020, this is probably the way to do it. And then on 41, we've got Star Wars The Mandalorian, the child shoulder accessory. So this looks like a little baby Yoda you can put on your shoulder to fill out your Mandalorian costume, maybe.
Gosh.
I
don't think that's the scale, though.
Yeah, probably not. On page 43, we've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Elite Series figures. And so these are Playmates Turtles figures, but they're previews exclusive. And it's sort of the Mirage era of the Turtles where they're all wearing the red bandanas and, have their individual weapons and everything. I saw these online, like announced online a while back. I'm kind of back and forth on these. I might pick these up. I'm not sure. We'll see. And right after that, we've got a Transformers Tiger Electronics game. So there's another one of them there. So going into the sort of Funko Pop section, there's some Hasbro characters they're doing the Glowworm, Mr. Potato Head, Stretch Armstrong, and the guy from Operation, who I didn't realize his name is Cavity Sam, apparently. I never knew that guy had a name, I guess, but that's what he's called, and there's a Funko Pop of him.
I used to have a Stretch Armstrong until I left him on a top shelf that was the sun hit, and he melted.
Oh, really? Is that what happened with Stretch Armstrong?
Yep, he leaked.
Huh.
Guess he got a little too warm.
Below those, at the bottom of the page, we've got some James Bond pops. So we've got a bunch from No Time to Die, which was supposed to be coming out soon again, but I think it's been pushed back to like April next year.
Mm-hmm.
So got to wait a little bit longer for James Bond. What else do I have over here? Oh, on page 73, we've got the New Batman Adventures Batman Mafex figure. And again, this is a pretty high-priced figure, but it looks really nice. It's from when they brought back the Batman the Animated Series. It's that new sort of redesign. It looks like it translates pretty well to a figure with some pretty decent articulation here. I'm surprised they were able to make it look as good as they did, really, with that. But again, it's a pretty high-priced figure at $124.99. But if you get the Mafex figures, this might be one to pick up. And I think that might be it for me for this catalog. Do you guys have anything else?
So on page 104, they're releasing a Dungeons and Dragons version of a game called The Great Dalmoody. This is like it's a card game, but it's kind of like it's a Richard Garfield game. He was also the designer of Magic the Gathering. He adapted this card game and released it called The Great Dalmoody. And now they're going to put, for the artwork, they're going to change it over to Dungeons and Dragons images. But the game itself is kind of fun. I guess the quote unquote downside of the game is that there's not really like any win condition. You just kind of just keep playing, and it basically each hand you end up with a new seating order around the table that you're playing. So you're constantly changing seats in between hands. So it's kind of a fun game. So if you're something you might be interested, if you're looking for party games or something like that, it's pretty good. So
it's a Great Dalmoody game, but it's Dungeons and Dragons themed. Is that what this?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So I only saw a few blank covers. There's like I guess a Vampirella blank. There's that Critical Role has a blank. Batman and Catwoman 1 had a blank cover. I know I probably missed a ton, but I don't know. My usual list of where I go get them at doesn't have it updated yet. So I don't know what else is in there besides those. I know. So Dan, what are you most looking forward to out of this catalog?
Probably Batman Catwoman, just to see what we're finally going to get with that and how this kind of wraps up Tom King's run. After all the delays and the behind the scenes rumors and things like that, see what we actually get out of this.
What about you, Mike?
Well, it's more than one issue, but I'd say the Endless Winter event.
I'm looking forward to the Batman Catwoman series as well. I'd like to see how Tom King writes Phantasm into the DC proper. So I think that has that's definitely interesting. Plus, like Dan said, we're gonna get the wrap up to that Tom King story. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how much of it is what he originally intended. So
Right.
You guys got any investment picks?
I'd say probably please don't step on my Jinko jeans. I think you're going to get a lot of Jinko nostalgia out of that. And they'll fly under the radar for a lot of people, until they get a Netflix deal a couple years down the road. Then everyone will be scrambling for that first print.
I'm probably going to pass on picking that one up myself.
What?
So. What about you, Mike?
For the investment pick, probably, even though I know it's not the actual first appearance of Phantasm, but it's in the first appearance of Phantasm in DC proper. So I'd say the Batman Catwoman #1.
I'm going to go with Erratic issue 1, just because of the fact that it has that whole Spider-Man feel to it. So it'd be a property that somebody could jump on for a series. Especially, there's a lot of young adult series that have some momentum. Things like that Enola Holmes that's on Netflix right now. So I think there's a market for those young adult style series. So I think that one could be a good pickup for that reason. So.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it?
I think so. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up before we go?
Nope.
Just kind of remind everybody, we've got the next mini-con coming up on October 24th. Be sure to be there. We've had some good turnouts with those. They've done really well for us, and get some more people in the store, people you haven't seen for a while too, for us that are there all the time.
Yeah, it's been fun to actually interact with people again.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So yeah, and Scott, where can everybody find you?
So burgcomics.com, burgcomics.com, and of course on eBay and Facebook and Instagram. And I plan to be at Campus Comics on October 24th.
Mike, what about you?
Just at Mike Atchison 5 on Twitter.
Right. And this is Dan Brown, and you can find me online at Detective651 on Twitter and Instagram, and my TeePublic store. And right now I'm participating in the annual Inktober event, so I'm putting up a drawing every day on my Twitter and Instagram. So check those out if you want. And you can find me at the store on Saturdays, and I will definitely be there on October 24th for the next mini-con. So I think that's it for this time. We'll see you next time.
Another one of my big fears is that we, go through an entire episode and it's like, oh, I forgot to push record.
That would kind of be funny, really.
Yeah. No, I don't think it would be. I don't think it'd be funny at all. So we've had downloads from Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands. Oh, okay. Here's what happened. That one episode, for some reason, there are 13 downloads from India. So that must be what shot that one up for some reason or another. Canada, UK, France, Spain. So there you go. We are international, baby. You don't have to clean your mustache for a podcast.
I do actually. It's getting in the way. I got to talk. I need to trim it up for masks anyway.